the identity of tomatoes. Did you know that you get cancer and dementia because of what you eat with? Tomatoes? There are foods that are the best match for tomatoes, which are good for your health, and foods that are the worst match. Even these good. Tomatoes are good for your health if you eat them well. If you eat them with foods that are bad for your health, they can actually harm your health. That's why we prepared it. We will tell you all 3 foods that are the worst match for tomatoes and 3 foods that are the best match for tomatoes too. Prevent cancer and dementia. Hello? This is your Healthy Life channel. Are there any of you who haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe and like right now. Please share it with your loved ones and introduce your Healthy Life channel a lot. We will continue to deliver only the best health information with the advice of Korean health management experts. All ingredients from nature are full of good nutrients. However, we do not consume just one ingredient when we eat food, even in a single dish. Ingredients that complement each other's taste and influence are combined together. However, just because the taste is good, it does not mean that the nutritional content is good. Eating foods that are bad for your health can actually harm your body and even cause cancer and dementia. Knowing and consuming foods that are good for your health is the best habit for your health. Your Healthy Life channel will always be with you in your health choices. Today's main character is the miracle tomato, one of the top 10 superfoods, selected by the Times. Tomatoes are rich in nutrients such as vitamin C, potassium, and dietary fiber, and are especially famous for containing a lot of the antioxidant ingredient lycopene. There is even an interesting proverb that says that when tomatoes turn red, doctors' faces turn blue. This means that if you eat tomatoes, your health improves and you don't go to the doctor. However, did you know that there are foods that are bad for your health when you eat tomatoes together? Now, let's take a look at the 3 worst foods that are bad for preventing cancer and dementia when eaten with tomatoes, and the 3 best foods that can extend our lifespans healthily. For reference, the average life expectancy of Koreans is currently 90 years for women and 86 years for men as of 2024, making it one of the longest average life expectancies in the world. It has increased by more than 5 years compared to 10 years ago, and the average life expectancy of Koreans is increasing every year. I hope you all always watch our health management videos and maintain a healthy life. First, the worst combination that you should never eat with tomatoes is sugar. Aren't you surprised? When the summer days are hot, you sprinkle sugar on tomatoes and eat them sweetly with ice, or you can even pickle them in sugar. Sugar and tomatoes are the worst combination. This is because sugar destroys the nutrients in tomatoes. You eat them for your health, but if you sprinkle sugar on them, they will be completely useless. When we eat food, vitamin B is used when sugar is broken down in the body. But if you sprinkle sugar on them like this, the amount absorbed in our body decreases because the vitamin B in the tomato is used to break down the sugar. In addition, the bigger problem is that sugar intake increases blood sugar. We all know that sugar is not good for the body. If you eat tomatoes raw, you can consume a lot of vitamin C. And if you eat them cooked, you can consume more lycopene, an antioxidant. So you can sprinkle olive oil on raw tomato salad, and you must use olive oil when cooking tomatoes. So far, we have looked at the 3 worst and 3 best foods to eat with tomatoes. Let's summarize them together. Tomatoes should not be eaten with sugar, but with salt instead. It is better to eat them with meat, which is rich in protein, rather than with spinach, which is high in oxalates. And you should eat them with olive oil, not ketchup. What do you think? I hope you'll protect your health by cooking well with foods that are good for your body and good for your health. Thank you so much for watching us for a long time. If today's video was helpful, please subscribe and like. Don't forget to set the notification. And please share it with your precious family and friends. I will always pray for your health and happiness. We will come back next time with more useful information from Korean health management experts. Thank you for watching. Of course, eating tomatoes sprinkled with sugar once or twice is not a problem. However, our diet should not be viewed as just one food, but as a whole. Picture, the problem is that we usually eat refined carbohydrates and sugar, and then eat sugary foods for dessert. If you frequently eat sugary foods like this, the hippocampus, which is the center of memory, will shrink, increasing the risk of vascular dementia and increasing the risk of not only diabetes but also cancer. For your health, you should definitely reduce your sugar intake starting today. So how should we eat? Tomatoes? The first thing that is recommended instead of sugar and the best combination with tomatoes is salt. Doesn't that seem a little strange? You probably know that both sugar and salt are bad for your health, so you should reduce them. Of course, eating too much is not good, but tomatoes are good when eaten with salt. In particular, tomatoes are very rich in vitamin C, which is essential for collagen production and fights cancer. It not only protects your health, but also keeps your skin healthy and young. The problem is that the vitamin C in tomatoes is easily oxidized when it meets oxygen in the air. At this time, if you sprinkle salt on the cut surface of the tomato, a thin film will be applied to the tomato, preventing the oxidation of vitamin C. Tomatoes are very rich in potassium, which lowers blood pressure and reduces the incidence of cardiovascular disease. If you sprinkle salt on tomatoes, the balance of potassium and sodium will be balanced, which will have the effect of facilitating cell and energy metabolism. Also, the salt sprinkled on the tomato will be excreted from the body again due to the diuretic effect of potassium, so it will not cause any significant side effects such as increased blood pressure, so you can eat it without worry. The second thing you should never eat with tomatoes is spinach. People with diabetes often eat spinach together because they say that the iron in spinach is good when eaten with foods rich in vitamin C like tomatoes. However, it is especially bad for people with weak kidneys. The problem is oxalate, which is oxalate. Tomatoes are rich in substances that accumulate calcium in the body. In fact, the food famous for oxalate is spinach. You probably know that spinach must be boiled in water before eating. When oxalic acid combines with calcium in the blood, it accumulates in the body in the form of small, sharp crystals, forming stones. It causes muscle pain and muscle weakness, as well as kidney stones and kidney cancer. This oxalic acid can be effectively removed by boiling or blanching, so people with weak kidneys should boil or cook tomatoes and spinach in water before eating. However, there is a bigger reason why you should not eat tomatoes and spinach together. The reason tomatoes are considered a superfood is because of the lycopene component. It is a miraculous component that prevents cancer by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation in the body as a powerful antioxidant. According to research, lycopene has a tremendous effect in preventing various cancers such as lung cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, and colon cancer. It is also the best for preventing arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular disease in vascular health. However, according to a paper by a research team at an American medical school, if you eat tomatoes with spinach, the absorption rate of the miraculous component lycopene is reduced by half, so it is better not to eat tomatoes and spinach together in the future. The second food that is recommended instead of spinach and goes best with tomatoes is meat. In fact, tomatoes go really well with all proteins and nutrients, such as eggs, tofu, and meat. Tomatoes are full of nutrients, such as vitamins, beta-carotene, and lycopene minerals, but they are lacking in one thing, protein. If you eat them with high-quality protein, they will supplement the nutrients. Among them, the combination that I especially recommend is meat. Here, do you know that meat consumption is bad for your body? It's not the time to sleep. As you get older, you should definitely eat meat. The biggest reason is protein. Protein is a component of our body, and if you don't consume enough protein, which is the main ingredient of cells, muscles, enzymes, and hormones, your gums will recede, your hair will fall out and you won't be able to produce enough immune cells or antibodies to fight diseases. Of course, beans and tofu are also great proteins, but these plant-based proteins lack the types of essential amino acids they contain, or they are small in quantity. Also, animal-based proteins, such as meat, are much easier to absorb in the body than plant-based proteins, so you should eat more of them as your digestive function declines as you age. In addition, protein affects not only the muscles of the body, but also the muscles of the mind. Tryptophan in meat is the source of serotonin, known as the happiness hormone, and is great for depression and mental health. In particular, the vitamins abundant in pork activate brain function and prevent dementia. However, there is one problem with this good meat consumption. The fluid in our body is alkaline, but meat is acidic. Today's main character, tomato, solves this problem. Tomatoes are a representative alkaline food, and when eaten with acidic meat, they greatly help in the digestion of protein and reduce the burden on the stomach. So they're the best match, but the rich fiber keeps the digestive system regular and prevents constipation, so they are a perfect match. Then, the third worst tomato food for health is tomato ketchup, a processed food. Ketchup is the most easily accessible sauce, and it is served with fried foods or processed foods. But these foods themselves are problematic, but ketchup is a big problem. In fact, 1 spoonful of ketchup contains about 4 g of sugar, which is more than the amount of chocolate snacks sold on the market. That's not all. That if you look at the nutritional ingredients of ketchup, you will find that it contains numerous sweeteners and food additives, such as high fructose corn syrup, salt, synthetic coloring, and spices. Some people think that ketchup is healthy because it contains tomatoes compared to other sauces, but the tomatoes in ketchup have all their nutritional ingredients destroyed by the processing and various additives. The third food that is recommended instead of ketchup and is the best match with tomatoes is olive oil. Tomatoes can be absorbed much more easily when cooked than when eaten raw. This is because the cell walls of tomatoes are destroyed when heated, making the antioxidant lycopene easily dissolved. However, there is an incredible way to increase the absorption rate of concentrated lycopene in the body by up to 9 times. This is by frying tomatoes in olive oil. Lycopene is fat-soluble, so it is much better to eat it with oil. Among them, it is best to eat it with olive oil, which is rich in omega-3 oleic acid. An unsaturated fatty acid in olive oil burns harmful LDL cholesterol, protects blood vessels in the heart by preventing oxidation, and increases the efficiency of beneficial HDL cholesterol. In addition, polyphenol, an antioxidant in olive oil, has a synergistic effect with lycopene in tomatoes, making it the best anti-cancer food. Surprisingly, the nutrients that can be consumed from tomatoes vary depending on the cooking method. If you eat tomatoes raw, you can consume a lot of vitamin C. And if you eat them cooked, you can consume more lycopene, an antioxidant. So you can sprinkle olive oil on raw tomato salad, and you must use olive oil when cooking tomatoes. So far, we have looked at the 3 worst and 3 best foods to eat with tomatoes. Let's summarize them together. Tomatoes should not be eaten with sugar, but with salt instead. It is better to eat them with meat, which is rich in protein, rather than with spinach, which is high in oxalates. And you should eat them with olive oil, not ketchup. What do you think? I hope you will protect your health by cooking well with foods that are good for your body and good for your health. Thank you so much for watching us for a long time. If today's video was helpful, please subscribe and like. Don't forget to set the notification, and please share it with your precious family and friends. I will always pray for your health and happiness. We will come back next time with more useful information from Korean health management experts. Thank you for watching.